He's a criminal's worst nightmare. A cop who enjoys the danger.
No guns, no jujitsu, just bring him down.
Do you really want to jump?
Well, then that's fine with me. Come on.
Wait, what do you mean? Wait a minute. What the?
He was ready to retire. Now, he's gonna wish he had.
Gun! Oh, oh, oh.
Raj, meet your new partner.
New partner. Too old for this.
If these guys can just stand each other,
What you got in there? Boy and Smith? A lot of old timers carry those.
the bad guys don't stand a chance.
Don't kill anybody. Don't kill anybody.
Great classic 80s trailer. Again, voiceover. I think the same guy does all the voiceovers for these movie trailers. I gotta look into that. I gotta look into that. I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And this is Movie Matters. We're talking about the 86 or 87?
Yeah.
87.
86.
87. 1987 Lethal Weapon movie. Richard Donner directed it. Shane Black wrote it. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, Gary Busey. Classic 80s movie.
Yeah. And I want to start the show off with the question that's burning in everyone's minds. Is Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I was thinking about that when I was watching it. I was like, oh, shit, this is like same as like Die Hard, if you will. Like I would consider this a Christmas movie.
Yeah. So in my book, Die Hard is 100% a Christmas movie.
Agreed.
I think it's extremely important to the overall plot of Die Hard.
Agreed.
I feel like this movie could leave it or take it. Like, it
True.
has nothing to really do with Christmas. I feel like the only reason they set it during Christmas time is either they released it in December.
They didn't.
They
released it in
Okay.
like, yeah, they didn't release it
Interesting.
during December, which is hilarious.
Or they were trying to compete with Die Hard, which is probably more what they were trying to do.
Well, Die Hard came out after this.
I thought Die Hard was before.
No, Die Hard was like late 80s, 88, I thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Let's see. 88, yeah. Die Hard's 88.
Interesting.
This is pre-Die Hard, 1 year pre-Die Hard. But very similar, obviously, vibes, and both produced by Joel Silver. Both have Michael Kamen that does the soundtrack to both of them, and you can kind of hear, again, like this and like what I found in like Roadhouse, because he did the score for that as well. Very similar vibes of like that kind of almost like shaking of a maraca, like that classic. I love that. That's just very classic 80s to me, because obviously Die Hard and these movies.
That's actually really funny that Die Hard came out after this. Because I felt like this movie was trying to be Die Hard, like in terms of like action sequences and stuff, but it's actually probably the reverse. Die Hard was probably trying to improve on what Lethal Weapon did.
This and Die Hard were both kind of trailblazers and kind of set the precedence for, buddy cop genre, and then, stuck in a building against, all the terrorists, like all that just the tried true action formula. These movies kind of created it, or perfected it, for that matter. I also don't like watching this. I was thinking, there's not a ton of really good buddy cop movies like this anymore. Like, there hasn't been one since, End of Watch was pretty good. I don't know if you've seen that. Shane Black also directed and wrote The Nice Guys, which is a really good buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
With Gosling and Russell Crowe. But, Rush Hour is, probably the last kind of buddy cop movie that is really good on that formula. But I also thought,
the opposing, the by the book and the rogue together, forced to work together and just shitting on each other the whole time, but somehow they work together really well and jive and stuff. I would agree that Rush Hour is probably the last great buddy cop movie.
But if you think about it too, like Rush Hour leans heavily on comedy, in my opinion. This movie, like Lethal Weapon, leans heavily on like kind of gritty action. And I was like, more of those movies were leaning towards the comedy aspect of like buddy comedy cop movies. This movie, like Lethal Weapon, was very gritty and like very action oriented, and they haven't done a really good action oriented buddy cop movie in a long time.
No,
like strictly action. Like
this
movie is badass. It's very action packed.
I would categorize this as a drama much more than. I mean, obviously it's an action movie, but like there's a lot of heavy themes that this movie deals with.
Yeah,
like right out of the gate. So like it's not like I mean like there's some great comedic lines in it, and like their banter is great. And you know, I'm getting too old for this shit is like the classic line.
Which he doesn't even say the full line in this one. He just says I'm too old for this. He doesn't say I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely I think it's funny that you say drama, because it's like the whole movie, like Riggs, Mel Gibson's character, is basically like suicidal, and they don't just, you know, suspend him or anything. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna partner you up with this guy.
Right.
with Murtaugh, Danny Glover's character. Which I love the intro to both characters. It's, you know, it's Murtaugh, so Danny Glover's character, is in a bathtub, which I think is hilarious. It's kind of demasculating, like, you know, just, you know, guys are so anti-bath, which is hilarious. And he's in a bathtub on his birthday, and his like family, you know, walks in on him, and he's naked in the tub, just like kind of awkward, but also just like weird intro. But and then you have, you know, Riggs, Mel Gibson's character, with him, you know, in a trailer, basically gonna eat a bullet.
Yeah, wakes up naked, drinks a beer for breakfast, and then goes and does coke in a drug deal that he's actually trying to bust. Yeah, and yells
Christmas
for the guy who
takes
takes him hostage to shoot him in the head. So, you know, like, very, very diametrically opposed in the beginning.
Yes. But yeah, good yin and yang. Good writing. The screenplay, again, is by Shane Black, who's does really good kind of buddy action comedies. He did The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis and Marlon Wayans, which is really good. But yeah, the script on this movie is great. Apparently, he had a bunch of like other drafts. Like this first couple drafts were like very, very dark, and like even more dark than the suicidal nature of Mel Gibson's character.
Yeah.
Like there was a scene that they cut out where there's like a school, like a sniper killing like kids, which is horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, I feel like, when did Danny Glover get a lisp? I feel like in this movie it's not as pronounced, but like as he gets older, I feel like his lisp becomes more pronounced. Have you ever noticed that in his other movies?
No.
Oh, it's always bothered me. I don't know if it's like always been there, or if it's just like old age where he's just lazy. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's probably a legit lisp. And
yeah.
But classic mullet on on Mel Gibson as well. Very 80s in that regard. I noticed, and I don't know if you picked up on it, but the opening kind of where, you know, the girl commits suicide, she jumps off of a balcony. That's kind of the whole like spur into action for this movie. Murtaugh is driving to the scene of the crime, and there's a call on his radio that's like, there's a disturbance. There's a 5 foot, 350-pound naked woman.
Yeah,
just like singing in the streets. Just like, what?
Yeah, I heard that and I was laughing to myself.
Yeah, I like.
It's like a great little detail that like doesn't add anything, but it's just funny if you pick it up.
Yeah, just super subtle. Like I haven't watched this movie in a long time. I've watched it as a kid years ago. But I remember enjoying it as a kid, so it's good to revisit this. Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts? Did you like it again? Were there things you picked up on?
Yeah, I mean, the last time I watched this, I was probably in college, and like I like it a lot. It's definitely a quintessential '80s action movie. There's just great sequences. There's awesome chase scenes. People get shot from helicopters. It's and like what the thing that I do really appreciate about this movie is that the plot is really excellent.
Yeah.
And just like very wild, and they unravel it extremely well. Like,
yes, I agree.
It's handled beautifully, and like probably the best part about it is that you find everything out along with the main characters.
Yes.
Not like some big looming secret that they're going to discover that you already know. It's like all this like weird shit kind of keeps piling up, and then finally it gets pieced together like about 2/3 of the way through, and it's like, holy shit, this is like some wild stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's exactly how I felt too. It's like, because again, I hadn't seen it in a while, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like I love how I just paid attention to the dialogue and the script and how they were like, having the plot flow, and you're spot on. Like it just was like, you're along for the ride like they are. You're the detective along with them. And I thought that's a really cool thing to have the audience, that audience be that have that perspective.
Yeah. And like the great part about it is that it's like a bunch of like kind of seemingly unrelated events that are happening, and like they're just kind of reacting to these things, and then like they slowly start to combine into the overall arching like scheme that these people are planning, and like
these ex like CIA
executing.
These ex-CIA
which
operatives.
is like just a wild plot for the 80s to me, is that it's like an ex-CIA like shadow organization that's running drugs through LA and like dispersing them throughout the country. Like it's like just like a crazy plot for like way ahead of its time. Like that's the kind of stuff that like people are trying to make movies about now. Like not like 30 years ago, but
yeah, I loved how they tied that in, like how the plot just goes with like the Vietnam, like them all being Vietnam veterans and everything, and then like them, like Riggs, Mel Gibson's character, kind of knowing about this organization, which was pretty cool. Like he's like, oh, I've heard of you guys. Like we're like all special forces. Like the whole tattoo, like they all had that special forces tattoo, which is cool. It's just, again, it ties things together slowly but surely. The puzzle pieces start, fitting together. I really like that.
There's like little signs that it's like a much bigger problem, than like it seems to be at first. Like the things that keep happening to them escalate over time, and it gets like more and more intense. So like, it's just great pacing, great plot progression.
Great action, and
really good character development too for both Murtaugh and Riggs. Like over the course of the 4 movies in the series, I think we learn more and more about Riggs and his backstory. But like, I do kind of like that it's kind of ambiguous in this movie. Like you just know that like he's upset about his wife in this movie. You don't really know why. It's kind of implied that she's dead, but not entirely.
Because he visits her grave at the end.
Oh yeah, you're right. So they do tell you, but they don't tell you how or anything. But
they say I think car accident, and then in the second one, I think it goes more into it. And again, I haven't seen the second, third, or fourth one in a great number of years.
Me
but
either.
They're definitely on our list, especially the second one since it's still in the 80s. But the like you said, character development's great. The acting, I was like actually really impressed. Like Mel Gibson's fucking awesome in this. even though he's a crazy person in real life, from what I hear. I guess he plays it well. Like him being suicidal and stuff, and like him putting the gun in his mouth, like I was like, wow, his acting's like really good.
There's a couple times where I think Gibson and Glover in different parts overact the shit out of like the certain situations, but like that's kind of on brand for the 80s.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So like it's forgivable. And like other than those couple moments, like it is really well acted. It's like with the trailer, the trailer audio is like really shitty. I don't know if they like remastered the audio when they released the 4K versions or not, but like the speaking is like very well done. Like in the movie too, where like sometimes in the 80s it's very difficult and like very muddy when people are talking to each other, and like this movie, they actually did a good job of like, if multiple people are talking, you can still hear exactly what each person's saying, and like they may have like upped the audio quality or something,
maybe even too,
but like
Do you question for you? Do you watch movies with subtitles?
No.
Okay, good. Neither do I. It pulls me out of it. I'm always reading.
Yeah. If I wanted to read, I would read a book.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch a movie to read.
I mean, if it's like I went and saw the movie Talk to Me, which is this horror movie that's from Australia, and they're all Australian in it, and like I saw that in theaters, and I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind subtitles in this movie because I couldn't understand a fucking word they were saying sometimes. But like this is fine. But also, funny I say that because Gibson's Australian, and his accent in this is hilarious. And I love that they make fun of that in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Have you seen the Lethal Weapon that they do?
Yeah.
So good. So good. Action, going back to the action in this, like, I love the whole ending of the movie because it's just one action beat to the next, to the next, to the next. Like, you go from the desert, them trying to get Murtaugh's daughter back, and they think Riggs is dead because they shoot him with a shotgun. And they think he's dead, but he's like sniping in the background, which is super cool. That whole scene's awesome. And then it goes to the warehouse scene where they're torturing both of them, which is awesome. And then Riggs escapes and just starts wrecking dudes. And then he goes on a foot chase after Joshua, who's played by Gary Busey. And then they finally catch up with him and have a fight scene at the house, at Murtaugh's house. And then that's the end of the movie.
A tad long, but it's okay.
Yes. It still was like, there's the one great movie that does that, goes from one action beat to the next, the next, the next. And that's just, there's two movies like that, in my opinion, that really do that well, is Terminator 2 and Mad Max Fury Road, that just go action beat to action beat to action beat. And this was like very reminiscent of that, in my opinion, with those action beats, because it's super well done and it flows very well and the pacing's really well, like you said. It's a fun ending. Like I paused the scene where they're fighting to see how much time I had left, and it was like 10 minutes left, and I was like, oh shit, like this is the ending, like this is cool.
Yeah. One of the cool things too, that's like a little detail that kind of ties that, particularly the desert scene, like together for me, is I think it's after Riggs has dinner at their house, and he's leaving. He tells Murtaugh that he was 19 when he was in Vietnam, and he made a shot on somebody at over 1,000 yards. And it was like, and he says like, that's the only thing I was ever good at.
Yeah,
and then,
that was cool.
in the desert scene, he picks off like 10 guys from like way far away, like just like blows these guys away.
Yeah.
It's like it's cool because like you get to actually see him like follow through on
It pays
what he
off.
said.
There's a payoff on that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just like out of nowhere and all of a sudden he's this crack shot that's like blowing people away with like one shot kills. You know,
It's good writing.
like-
It's good writing.
Yeah.
Shane Black is an awesome writer. He's made some crap movies, to be honest, but like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is awesome. Like the newest Predator sucked, but but like he's usually pretty good. Yeah, the torture scene is awesome, where he's getting shocked.
Yeah.
And that the Asian guy in that is in Die Hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of Die Hard connections in this movie.
Yeah.
Like even there's this one black guy in the beginning who's at the police station who's talking to Murtaugh. He's Special Agent Johnson, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the FBI guys.
Yeah, one of the FBI guys. So
No relation.
No relations. Yeah, Agent Johnson and Agent Johnson.
But yeah, like the other thing I wanted to note in the multiple hand-to-hand fight scenes that Gibson does in this movie feature a lot of jujitsu. And this is one of the first movies that actually showcased jujitsu as like a fighting tactic. And like particularly the first blockbuster to do so, which actually spurred a lot of people to get into jiu-jitsu, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan talks about this in one of his episodes with somebody.
Nice.
But like it's kind of neat because it was like very obscure and kind of brought it to the mainstream, and now like like everybody's talking about doing jiu-jitsu. So
Yeah. The movie made good money at the box office. It's only made for like 15 million, which isn't horrible. Made like 120 million at the box office, so it was a good box office success. All of the movies were pretty much box office success, except the fourth one is ish. But like it got glowing reviews too. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Sound, so it was a successful movie. And I would say definitely a classic, quintessential 80s movie. Like definitely something, a lot of people know about this movie. It's very well known. It's an 80s movie that I highly recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. The rewatchability on it's very high. It's got, like I said, like the plot is excellent. There's a lot of good reasons to like really dig into it, I think. And like I bet if I watched it again, there'd probably be even more like little things that I missed. That like tie into other stuff. So yeah, I think rewatchability is high. I think it's really fun, even if you have seen it a lot of times. Like this is one of my father-in-law's favorite movies.
Nice.
He loves the shit talking that they do to each other and stuff. So
it makes me want to watch the other movies too. Like I really want to watch the second one like ASAP, and I want to watch the third one and the fourth one. Like I don't want to watch the TV show. I have no interest in the TV show, to be honest.
I like the TV show.
Oh, really? It's good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, TV shows are a lot of commitment now.
Yeah.
But they are supposedly going to maybe make a fifth movie. I know we've talked about remaking 80s movies before and some of these other ones like Cobra and Roadhouse and Night Shift and all those, but I would see a fifth one if they came out with one. I think it'd be great. I mean, but how old are they?
Would be in a wheelchair though.
Exactly. They are literally too old for that shit. So
yeah. Well, he would be 80, right? Because he's
Glover?
50.
Or you're saying
Murtaugh was 50 in the movie.
In this movie,
so he'd be like 80,
pushing on retirement. Or it'd be cool if they make the movie and like he's retired and like Mel Gibson's about to retire or something, and they need to like team back. I don't know, something like that. There's the classic trope of pull him out of retirement.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I love that movie. It's a great one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good when the series is like all around excellent too. It's like especially when it kicks off on such a strong note.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of series really struggle like after the first movie.
Yeah. It's a good point.
From what I remember, the second and third ones are great also.
Yeah, Joe Pesci's in it.
Yeah. And then I don't remember if I've watched the fourth one or not, but
Jet Li's the bad guy. They go up against like Chinese triads, I think it's what it is. Again, I haven't seen it in a long. It's like funny money. I think they're going after like fake money, like printing fake money. Again, haven't seen them in years, so definitely something I wanna watch. But yeah, well, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll be back with our next '80s movie.
Yep. See ya.
Take care.